At the back of the Lockwood Gardens at Hazelwood Village, there is a bee apiary. In this video, we're going to learn all about it.
So the difference between these, I mean, they're all bees, they're all the same type of bees, but we purchased these from a local beekeeper that purchases bees or purchases colonies, and then people can buy them from him. So the very first day that we brought these home, we happened to get a phone call from a resident in Hazelwood Village that there was a beehive on Petunia. And so we went over there and we captured a swarm. It's called capturing a swarm. They had left somebody else's colony because they didn't have enough room to grow. So they were trying to find a new home. So we went and captured them, and that's what started this second one. So we call this the Petunia beehive. And
Petunia Street.
Yeah, for Petunia Street.
Yeah, you'll see a little bit different shine or luster to them when you move the frame. You're going to see them, I don't want to move it too much, but basically right in here, if you hold it in the sun. So we know that our queen is up here in this box about 2.5 frames in, because the other side of this isn't filled, but this side is definitely full of honey.
Oh, Coleen, you said that a yellow jacket tried to rob your bees.
So they smell the honey too, and they're like, I want some of that. And the bees will defend it. They may even become fairly aggressive, trying to protect their brood, you know, because they don't want the yellow jackets and the wasps to eat their babies, because those are great protein, you know, or their honey.
How do you guys collaborate together to keep the hives healthy?
Well, so far we've both been duplicative in that, like today, where you're both here doing the inspection together and comparing notes with what she sees and what I see, and we log, you know, like how many frames of what we're seeing, if we were able to see the queen, when we feed the bees, when we harvest honey, when we treat them, you know, so we document all of the different tasks. And right now, Shonna's kind of at the point in her studies. She's a student of bees, and she's kind of getting to that point where she's self-sufficient and she's able to do the inspections herself.
So how much time does it take to be a beekeeper? And let's break it down to like a monthly time during the spring.
If you already have an established hive that has wintered over and you're just maintaining it from one year to the next, really there's not much involved. You just need to do a weekly inspection and make sure that they're not going to swarm, you know, make sure that they have enough room for the brood. So I'm going to say on a weekly basis, maybe an hour once a week, so 4 hours a month. But if you're starting a brand new hive like we did, we started 2, it takes significantly more time, because you're looking to make sure that the bees are adjusting well to their new environment. It takes more to get established, of course. So that would be like your typical springtime. And then once they are doing their thing, you know, there's capped brood, and she's laying in both of the brood boxes. It's kind of hands off, and we just inspect them like we did today, the top box, maybe half an hour a week. And then we really won't do anything significant until it's time to harvest the honey in late August or September.
Approximately how much time does it typically take to harvest a single colony for the honey?
I'm going to say half a day for a colony. And I kind of like to do it old school. I do it manually, but some people can rent honey extractors from the bee club, or they can purchase their own. So it takes about a day to do both of these colonies.
So tell me more about propolis.
Well, I think it has a lot of enzymes that help the bees with the nutrition of the hive. It's real sticky. It's kind of like a glue. You can see it on my hive tool.
Yeah.
And they use it, it's kind of like Adobe, right? So they use it to mud pack their hive and protect it from intruders or the elements. One thing to know, if you're over here in the apiary or in the community garden, is that if you see a swarm of bees, like a basketball-sized swarm or a cluster, like in a tree or even flying around, During swarming season from April to June, that's when they're most mellow because they're looking for a new home. They're not really interested in protect. They don't have any honey to protect or any resources, so they're going to be pretty calm. Even though it looks really scary to people, that's the time not to worry about it. The Treasure Valley beekeepers will send somebody out to collect a swarm. And there, when we got ours, there were like 80 people on the waiting list to get one. And so we were lucky enough to get us in the hive. So that's something I want people to know is don't be afraid if you see a swarm. If you need it removed, you can definitely call the club or call us. We'll put you in touch. The other thing is, if you are around a beehive or a colony, approach from the side because there are little tiny entrances on the front of the hive. Yeah, it makes them feel like they need to get around you or something. So it's best if you just approach from the side. And then beekeepers use these brushes, but like for example, if you have a bee on you, don't necessarily flick it or swat it quickly. That might stir them up a little bit. If you just brush them off or slide them off, they're much more inclined to just fly away. Yep, perfect. So instead of that little tiny space, what we're going to do is flip it over and there will be this extra space right here. So again, I'm just going to slide it in instead of mashing it in.
So, ladies, what is the plan for the winter for their survival?
The first thing for winter, to get ready for winter transition, is that we're going to harvest honey in the fall. And then after that, what we'll do is take the honey soup. It's called a honey super. It's another box. And not usually for the first year, you don't always get very much honey, but we'll see what we get. And we have to leave an entire box. So 100 pounds or 10 frames of honey for the bees for the winter. Anything that they produce above that, that's for us to harvest and keep. But just in case they don't have enough honey, what Shonna and I are going to do is we'll introduce another box, and it's called a candy board. And it's just another box, but it has a screen. And then we put together this like mixture, kind of a fondant. We'll combine sugar syrup, which is water and sugar, and then granulated sugar, and we'll make it into kind of a frosting, and we'll pack it into the box so that they can eat it if they run out of honey in the winter. But that's all we do, really. We're going to make sure that they have enough ventilation. We're going to make sure that they've been treated for mites one more time in the fall for 42 days, and then we're going to leave them alone. So it's not the cold that typically gets bees. They are able to maintain inside of a little basketball-sized winter bee colony at 95 degrees. As the season progresses, they will move up into the very top of the box to stay warm. But we want to make sure that there's no sources of moisture that are able to get in there, because what could happen is if it's too moist, then they get condensation and it can actually drip or rain down on them. And that's what usually kills bees.
A tarp or anything over the top of this, or do you just let it?
Nope, we're just going to let it be. Sorry. Pardon the pun.
Is there plans for any more colonies? Can more colonies be added back here?
Well, we had only really planned for one, and we bought the bees, and then like Shonna was describing, we ended up getting a swarm from the neighborhood, and that was our plan to expand, was to build into a second box maybe next year, but it happened all in the same day. Really, we do have enough space if we wanted to be prepared and get some more cinder blocks and another pallet and some more boxes. We could be prepared when our bees get overcrowded. We could start our own colony. There's certain ways that we can do that, but it's called a split. Or we could adopt a swarm next spring. You know, they're all over the place. We could do that, but certainly there is more space for, I'd say, maybe 2 more beehives.
This video was sponsored by me, Cynthia Korenek, and Sovanett Realty. I hope you enjoyed the content.
You won't regret going with Sovanett.